Okay, so hello and welcome everyone. Thank you all for making the decision to be here. I'm sure that maybe some difficulty or life isn't going completely perfect. Maybe you didn't just win $1 million, and yet we can still somehow make the choice to show up here together and kind of face the present moment and to embrace it even in the midst of difficulty or feeling of things not going the way that we wanted them to go. Um, we still have this capacity to show up, and I'm really grateful for everyone making the choice to be here now. And it's really a great joy to support one another in this way. So, thank you. We are on part 6 of our Buddhist book club on Thich Nhat Hanh's book, Fear, Wisdom for Getting Through the Storm. And we are going to continue the reading today, starting on the portion of appreciating where we are. But before we begin the reading, we can invite 3 sounds of the bell and come home to our breathing, come home to our body, and just to really be aware of where we are here in this present moment, and to find some appreciation of that, our breath and our body, just exactly the way that they are right now. So we start with 3 sounds of the bell. Okay, so we will continue with our reading, beginning with this section of appreciating where we are. Imagine 2 astronauts go to the moon, and while they are there is an accident and their ship can't take them back to Earth. They have only enough oxygen for 2 days. There is no hope of someone coming from Earth in time to rescue them. They have only 2 days to live. If you were to ask them at that moment, what is your deepest wish? They would answer, to be back home walking on our beautiful Earth. That would be enough for them. They wouldn't want anything else. They wouldn't think of being the head of a large corporation, famous celebrity, or the President of the United States. They wouldn't want anything but to be back here, walking on Earth, enjoying every step, listening to the sounds of nature, or holding the hand of their beloved while contemplating the moon at night. We should live every day like people who have just been rescued from dying on the moon. We are on Earth now, and we need to enjoy walking on this precious, beautiful planet. Zen Master Linji said, "The miracle is not to walk on water or fire. The miracle is to walk on earth." I cherish that teaching. I enjoy just walking, even in busy places like airports and railway stations. Walking like that, with each step caressing our Mother Earth, we can inspire other people to do the same. We can enjoy every minute of our lives. What what comes up for me with this right away is that feeling of being very sick. So right now I'm having some sickness, some stomach issue, and then when that's there, um, all all I want to do, if it's very intense, is to just not feel that way, or to just be at peace, or just be able to go for a walk, to just not be in this extreme pain or difficulty. There's not this high-minded idea of having a power or status or a special experience or a need to add anything. Actually, it's just to be where I am and not have this fear or this dread or this worry. But it's interesting how we can so fully get caught up in the good conditions that we want more. So the good conditions, the fair weather, makes us just ignore the fair weather and want more and more and more. And then calamity strikes or sickness strikes. And then we just want to come home. So this practice of living every day like people who have just been rescued from dying on the moon, enjoying every minute of our lives, no matter how plain or simple it is. Moving on to this section, finding solid ground. In our daily lives, our fear causes us to lose ourselves. Our body is here, but our mind is all over the place. Sometimes we plunge ourselves into a book, and the book carries us far away from our body and the reality where we are. Then, as soon as we lift our head out of the book, we are back to being carried away by worries and fears. But we rarely go back to our inner peace, to our clarity, to the Buddha nature in each of us, so that we can be in touch with Mother Earth. Many people forget their own body. They live in an imaginary world. They have so many plans and fears, so many agitations and dreams, and they don't live in their body. While we are caught in fear and trying to plan our way out of fear, we aren't able to see all the beauty that Mother Earth offers us. Mindfulness reminds you to go back to your in-breath and to be totally with your in-breath. Be totally with your out-breath. Bring your mind back to your body and be in the present moment. Look deeply straight in front of you at what is wonderful in the present moment. Mother Earth is so powerful, so generous, and so supportive. Your body is so wonderful. When you've practiced and you are solid like the earth, you face your difficulty directly and it begins to dissipate. And take a few moments to breathe and face whatever difficulty is there directly. And we can feel supported by Mother Earth, the ground beneath us, the atmosphere, the oxygen, all these things supporting us to be able to embrace and to face any difficulty and fear here in the present moment. Somehow it's like we really are those astronauts stuck on the moon. And the moment we get back to Earth, we forget how wonderful it is to be on the Earth, how much there is to appreciate and to be grateful for and to enjoy. It's a real conundrum, but we have the blessing, we have the good luck to know about this, to breathe, come home. And we can continue being those astronauts who so easily forget the joy and the safety of just being right here, Mother Earth, right where we are. So this next section here is a practice that we can do together. Practice of breathing in the present. Please take a moment to enjoy the simple practice of mindful breathing. Breathing in, I know that I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know that I am breathing out. If you do that with a little concentration, then you'll be able to really be there. The moment you begin to practice mindful breathing, your body and your mind begin to come back together. It only takes 10 to 20 seconds to accomplish this miracle, the oneness of body and mind in the present moment. And every one of us can do it, even a child. As the Buddha said, the past no longer is. The future is not yet here. There is only one moment in which life is available, and that is the present moment. To meditate with mindful breathing is to bring body and mind back to the present moment so that you do not miss your appointment with life. So take a moment to enjoy this simple practice of mindful breathing. Breathing in, I know that I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know that I am breathing out. Breathing in, I know that I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know that I am breathing out. Okay, we'll move on to the next section, which is the gift of fearlessness. If you have a loved one who is facing death, she may be very afraid. If you want to be able to help your friend, you have to learn to cultivate your own non-fear. Non-fear is the basis of true happiness. And if you can offer non-fear to someone, you are giving that person the best kind of gift. If you can sit solidly with your friend during those difficult moments, you can help her die peacefully without fear. Non-fear is the cream of the Buddha's teaching. Practicing meditation, we can generate the energies of mindfulness and concentration. These energies will lead us back to the insight that nothing is really born or dies. We can truly remove our fear of death. When we understand that we cannot be destroyed, we are liberated from fear. It is a great relief. Non-fear is the ultimate joy. If we have fear, we cannot be completely happy. If we are still running after the object of our desire, then we still have fear. Fear goes together with craving. We want to be safe and happy, so we begin to crave a particular person or object or idea, such as wealth or fame, that we think will guarantee our well-being. We can never fully satisfy our craving, so we keep running and we stay scared. If you stop running after the object of your craving, whether it's a person, a thing, or an idea, your fear will dissipate. Having no fear, you can be peaceful. With peace in your body and mind, you are not beset by worries. And in fact, you have fewer accidents. You are free. If we can model this ability to embody non-fear and non-attachment, it is more precious than any money or material wealth. Fear spoils our lives and makes us miserable. We cling to objects and people like a drowning person clings to any object that floats by. By practicing non-attachment and sharing this wisdom with others, we give the gift of non-fear. Everything is impermanent. This moment passes. The object of our craving walks away, but we can know happiness is always possible. So, this idea here of craving and reaching after and chasing after a particular object or experience as actually the cause of our fear. So that if we are running after this object that we desire, this experience that we desire, we are empowering our fear, boldening fear. With our capacity to be mindful and aware of what's happening in the present moment, we can easily able to not practice chasing after that object, that desire. We can practice non-attachment so that there's not a particular object that we are chasing after or trying to get. Everything is impermanent. This moment passes. The object of our craving walks away, but we can know happiness is always possible. Anyone have something to share about this or a question about this first part of the section? This gift of fearlessness? Okay, so let's continue. Intoxicants. We do not want our fear, our anger, our pain. So we suppress it by filling up our lives with the things provided to us by modern civilization. Websites, games, films, music. All these items can contain many toxins that only serve to increase our sickness, our fear. Suppose you watch 1 hour of television. That seems like very little, but you know there can be a lot of violence, a lot of fear, and a lot of poisons in that 1 hour program. And you practice intoxicating yourself every day. You think you're getting some kind of relief, but while entertaining yourself, you continue to bring into the depths of your consciousness even more elements of pain and suffering. So the blocks of pain deep within you keep growing bigger and bigger. We intoxicate ourselves with what we consume every day. We let the television set be our children's babysitter and our children get intoxicated every day by what they see and hear there. The Buddha terms these things poisons. There are poisons in us already, deep in our consciousness, and yet we open ourselves up to bring in even more poisons and toxins. Our environment is also deeply polluted by toxins. Practicing meditation means being aware of all that is going on, not only in our body, but also in the rest of the world. We are feeding ourselves and our children with poisons. That is what is happening in the present moment. If you notice this, you are awakened to the fact that we are intoxicating ourselves all day long. We have to find a way to stop consuming these intoxicants that feed our fear. What's coming to my mind is the quite usual situation of feeling a sense of suffering or a sense of fear, a sense of not being satisfied, and then going to the YouTube or going to the movie or going to the music um, as a way to relax, or we feel to nourish ourselves, to enjoy. But that actually, in doing so, we are bringing in more poisons, more toxins that's actually going to grow and increase this block of suffering, this block of fear. And then, it's going to burst in some way, going to become a bigger problem. So we have to find a way to stop consuming these intoxicants that feed our fear. And just something practical that I've been working with lately is to try and listen to more Dharma talks. Ajahn Brahm, Thich Nhat Hanh. There's a lot of talks that are available online. So this is going to be something that can be kind of brought in, invited in, but is not going to have the this poisonous quality that so much media does have, because for some reason or another, we have this tendency to want to be inflamed. And maybe it's to avoid or to distract ourselves from that deeper sense inside of ourselves of poison or inflamed, that trauma, that suffering. And so we're looking to another form of suffering to distract us. But actually, it's just this block is just increasing, and eventually it explodes and we get sick, or we have a great accident, a great negative situation comes into our lives. We put ourselves in danger. So we have to find a way to stop consuming these intoxicants that feed our fear. Have to find a way.
I've been actually so thinking a lot about this lately. I've kind of culled a lot of the media I consume, especially in the evening when, as you said, sitting there trying to relax. Um, one of the things I've tried doing is try to be present when I'm watching something, when I'm listening to something, and see what it evokes within me when I'm being fully present in it. And one of the things that this has led me to do is just I don't watch the news in the evening because it does me no good. It's like you said, it just feels like poison. You don't feel good. And it's just that. So well, lately, I think what I've been doing is if I play anything, it's music. And some days I just, sit and just decompress and take things as they come through me. Be present within the self. Um, Yeah, there are days where you need to watch a show or something, but it's not every day.
Hi, everyone. I stopped watching the news after Trump was elected. I swore off all media at that point. But if I think back, I grew up in the city in the 70s. And, when I was a kid, you didn't have a place where you could go get food anytime you wanted, or it just seems like we're so bombarded with, like, there's a vending machine, there's a snack machine, there's a Starbucks on every corner, there's this. And then when I look at work, where I work, there's a TV on and a radio and a vending machine, and we've got snacks out for our customers who are waiting for their cars to get fixed. And we're just bombarded all the time. And then we sell cars that have TVs in them. And then it's just, and then when you're driving to work, you can just people are driving, you can go super fast, and you can listen to music that the sound systems are unreal. And it's just like everything is escalating, is just so heightened. And I think I'm more aware of that because I cut out a lot of media. I don't follow, I don't even know what the weather is half the time. Um, but I also come home and I'm quiet, or I listen to music. I am a musicaholic, so I listen to music all the time. But I just realized that a lot of people are really living in this heightened, super sensory state all the time. All of their input, everything, food, everything is just. I don't think it's sustainable as a human being and as a culture. I don't. So it's nice to be around like-minded people. Signing out.
Thank you, Meredith. Yeah,
It's
Morgan.
uh, it's actually funny that you brought up the driving fast and listening to music, your favorite music over the stereo system. Music is my Achilles heel, especially over a really good sound system. And that's exactly what I was doing on the way back. I had um, traveled across town for work, and I just finished, and I saw my GPS said I would get home at 8:01. I was like, no, that's not gonna work because I didn't want to miss this. And all along, I could have just watched it on YouTube live, but that wasn't in my head at the time. So I drove about 10 miles an hour over the speed limit, blasted my music, and I came here and sat down, ran up the stairs, sat down at the computer, logged on as soon as possible, and I had just made it. And the first thing I hear is Bhante breathing. And I'm just like, whoa. It's like everything just came to a halt, and my first thought is, what am I doing to myself? And that's really all I had to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Morgan. Let's we can put out a general disclaimer. Please do not try to beat the GPS home in any situation, but especially here, to get here. Um, but it is certainly a joy for us to be together in community in this way and feel that sense of embrace and that kind of, yeah, there are toxins in us, but we can embrace them and transform them, and we can support one another in doing that in a way that's not based in poisoning each other, and that's somehow all embracing, and that hopefully that can lead us to more ways of practicing that with ourselves. I find that in my own life, there's this feeling, oh, now it's this time, so maybe I'll watch something on YouTube where I'll relax, and it's kind of closing myself down to the opportunities that are there, and then falling into this down this pathway where it's just tumbling down and slowly losing more and more self-awareness of what's going on, until eventually, I could barely rest. I worked myself up, right, into stress or anxiety or fear or this kind of sense of grasping. And yeah, it certainly isn't relaxing. AJ shared something on YouTube that I thought was very insightful. AJ said, it feeds fear many times through content itself, but it is also avoidance of whatever the problem is we try to escape, which reinforces to our body that the real problem is intolerable or unsolvable. Okay, so I think AJ saying that it's when we go to the content or the consuming the content, we're feeding our fear through the content itself, but we're also avoiding. So it's like we're offering our fear to the content, but we're also avoiding whatever the problem is that we try to escape, which reinforces to our body that the real problem is intolerable or unsolvable, which it's not, right? And then the problem feels worse because we aren't facing it, and it builds into a larger problem. It can fuel addiction and anxiety/depression. Yeah, thank you, AJ. That's definitely been my experience. And certainly, some people say it's a content-based economy. Our lives kind of revolve around content and consumption and the ease of access to content and consumption as a way to deal with our suffering. That's the way to live, is through consuming. So and continue on. Um, so just this last paragraph of, we are feeding ourselves and our children with poisons. And maybe that's a difficult statement, but to recognize that is to be able to take care of it, and not continue doing that in the in the capacity that we're able to. Certainly better to take less poison. So we are feeding ourselves and our children with poisons. That is what is happening in the present moment. If you notice this, you are awakened to the fact that we are intoxicating ourselves all day long. We have to find a way to stop consuming these intoxicants that feed our fear. On to the next section, the nature of interbeing. When we look deeply into a sheet of paper, we see that it is full of everything in the cosmos: the sunshine, the trees, the clouds, the earth, the minerals, everything. Except for one thing. It is empty of one thing only: a separate self. The sheet of paper cannot be by itself alone. It has to interbe with everything else in the cosmos. That is why the word interbe can be more helpful than the word be. In fact, to be means to interbe. The sheet of paper cannot be without the sunshine, cannot be without the forest. The sheet of paper has to interbe with the sunshine, to interbe with the forest. If you were to ask how the world came into existence, into being, the Buddha would say in very simple terms, this is because that is. This is not because that is not. Because the sunshine is, the sheet of paper is. Because the tree is, the sheet of paper is. You cannot be by yourself alone. You have to interbe with everything else in the cosmos. That is the nature of interbeing. I don't think that the word interbe is in the dictionary, but I believe that it will be there soon because it helps us to see the real nature of things, the nature of interbeing. If you are locked into the idea of a separate self, you have great fear. But if you look deeply and are capable of seeing you everywhere, you lose that fear. As a monk, I practice looking deeply every day. I don't just give lectures. I can see me in my students. I see me in my ancestors. I see my continuation everywhere in this moment. Every day I make the effort to transmit to my students the best that I have received from my teachers and from my practice. I do not believe that I will cease to be someday. I told my friends that the 21st century is a hill, a beautiful hill that we will climb together as a Sangha. I will be with my Sangha all the way. For me, that is not a problem because I see everyone in me and me in everyone. That is the practice of looking deeply, the practice of concentration on emptiness, the practice of interbeing. Maybe we take a few moments to breathe with this concentration on emptiness or this concentration on interbeing. So I am because you are. You are because the sun is. And that there is no separate self here, but there is a state of interbeing that we can be aware of. Okay, on to the story of Anathapindika. Anathapindika, who lived 2,600 years ago, was an early follower of the Buddha. Anathapindika was a businessman who was very generous, and he used his time and energy to help the destitute people of his city. He gave away a lot of his wealth to the poor, yet he did not become less wealthy. He received a lot of happiness. He had a lot of friends in his business circles, and he was loved by all of them. Anathapindika took great pleasure in serving the Buddha. He used his wealth to buy a forested park and build a practice center called Jeta Grove, where the Buddha and his monks could practice. The Jeta Grove became a famous practice center, and the people came there to listen to the talk given by the Buddha every week. One day, the Buddha learned that his beloved disciple, Anathapindika, was very sick. He went to visit him and urged Anathapindika to practice mindful breathing while in bed. Then the Buddha asked Shariputra, a close friend of Anathapindika, to take care of him during his illness. Shariputra and his younger monastic brother Ananda went to visit Anathapindika. When they arrived, Anathapindika was so weak that he could not sit up in bed to greet them. Shariputra said, "No, my friend, don't try. Just lie quietly. We will bring a few chairs to be close to you and sit together." The first question Shariputra asked was, "Dear friend, Anathapindika, how do you feel? Is the pain in your body growing worse, or has it begun to lessen?" Anathapindika said, "No, friends, the pain in me is not lessening. It is getting worse all the time." When Shariputra heard that, he decided to offer Anathapindika a few exercises in guided meditation. As one of the most intelligent of the Buddha's disciples, Shariputra knew very well that helping Anathapindika focus his mind on the Buddha, whom he loved to serve, would give Anathapindika a lot of pleasure. Shariputra wanted to water the seeds of happiness inside Anathapindika, and he knew that talking about all the things that had made Anathapindika happy in his life would water those good seeds in him and lessen his pain in this critical time. Shariputra invited Anathapindika to breathe in and out mindfully and to focus his attention on his happiest recollections, his work for the poor, his many acts of generosity, and the love and compassion he shared with his family and his fellow students of the Buddha. In just 5 or 6 minutes, the pain that Anathapindika had been feeling throughout his body lessened, as the seeds of happiness in him were watered, and he smiled. Watering the seeds of happiness is a very important practice for those who are sick or dying. All of us have seeds of happiness inside us, and in those difficult moments when we are sick or dying, there should be a friend sitting with us to help us touch those seeds. Otherwise, seeds of fear, regret, or despair can easily sprout into big formations that overwhelm us. When Anathapindika was able to smile, Shariputra knew that the meditation had been successful. Shariputra invited Anathapindika to continue the guided meditation. "Dear friend Anathapindika, now it is the time to practice the meditation on the 6 senses. Breathe in and out and practice with me. These eyes are not me. I am not caught in these eyes. This body is not me. I am not caught in this body. I am life without boundaries. The decaying of this body does not mean the end of me. I am not limited to this body. When someone is about to die, He may be very caught up in the idea that this body is him. He is caught in the notion that the disintegration of the body is his own disintegration. We are all very afraid of becoming nothing, but the disintegration of the body cannot affect the person's true nature. That is why it's very important for us to be able to look deeply to see the ways in which we are not just our bodies. Each of us is life without limit. This body is not me. I am not caught in this body. I am life without limit. These eyes are not me. I am not caught in these eyes. These ears are not me. I am not caught in these ears. This nose is not me. I am not caught in this nose. This tongue is not me. I am not caught in this tongue. This body is not me. I am not caught in this body. This mind is not me. I am not caught in this mind. They led Anathapindika to meditate also on the objects of the six senses. The dying person may be attached to forms, sounds, body, mind, and so on, considering these things to be self. Because he is losing these, he believes he is losing self. These meditations are very comforting for an ill or dying person. These things I see are not me. I am not caught in what I see. These sounds are not me. I am not caught in these sounds. These smells are not me. I am not caught in these smells. These tastes are not me. I am not caught in these tastes. These contacts with the body are not me. I am not caught in these contacts with the body. These thoughts are not me. I am not caught in these thoughts. Anathapindika knew these two monks very well. Both were beloved disciples of the Buddha, and they were sitting there to support him, so he was able to do the meditation easily, even though he was gravely ill. Then Shariputra guided him in the meditation on time. The past is not me. I am not limited by the past. The present is not me. I am not limited by the present. The future is not me. I am not limited by the future. Finally, they came to the meditation on being and non-being, coming and going. These are very deep teachings. Shariputra said, "Dear friend Anathapindika, everything that is arises because of causes and conditions. Everything that is has the nature not to be born and not to die, not to arrive and not to depart. When the body arises, it arises. It does not come from anywhere. If conditions are sufficient, the body manifests and you perceive it as existing. When the conditions are no longer sufficient, the body is not perceived by you, and you may think of it as not existing. In fact, the nature of everything is no birth and no death. The nature of everything is no thing, no separate thing, no separate self." Anathapindika was a very capable practitioner. When he practiced to this point, he was moved and got insight right away. He was able to touch the dimension of no birth and no death. He was released from the idea that he was only his body. He released the notions of birth and death. the notions of being and non-being, and so was able to receive and realize the gift of non-fear. Everything that is comes to be because of a combination of causes. When the causes and conditions are sufficient, the body is present. When the causes and conditions are not sufficient, the body is absent. The same is true of eyes, ears, nose, tongue, mind, form, sound, smell, taste, touch, and so on. This may seem abstract, but it is possible for all of us to have a deep understanding of it. You have to know the true nature of dying to understand the true nature of living. If you don't understand death, you don't understand life. The teaching of the Buddha relieves us of suffering. The basis of suffering is ignorance about the true nature of self and of the world around you. When you don't understand, you are afraid, and your fear brings you much suffering. That is why the offering of non-fear is the best kind of gift you can give to yourself and to anyone else. This important practice, the practice of non-fear, involves looking deeply to relieve the deep fear that is always there. If you have non-fear, your life will be happier and more beautiful, and you will be able to help many other people, just as Shariputra helped Anathapindika. The energy of non-fear is the key and the best basis for social action, for actions of compassion that protect people, protect the earth, and satisfy your needs to love and to serve. It is entirely possible to live happily and die peacefully. Stop for a moment and we can invite a sound of the bell. For me, something that always stands out with this kind of teaching is that I don't I don't necessarily feel afraid to die or to not exist anymore, but I do feel a lot of fear about the pain or the suffering that I can go through, that I can experience. And my understanding about that in terms of this teaching is that focusing on the death and not being the eyes, not being the ears, not being the mind, not being the seeing, the feeling, uh, that this is to disentangle the root of that fear, which is that there's someone to experience these difficulties, or that there's someone to disappear. There's no one to go through great pain or great suffering. This is just a kind of phantom. So we have to first step back from that someone that is born and that someone who dies, that someone who goes through pain, so that we can see through it, so that we can embody this non-fear. And I find that those moments of calamity, those moments of great difficulty, well, where do they pull me to? They pull me to my practice. So going through great difficulty or sufferings or pains or something like that, it's going to, I know from my experience that it's going to bring me to my practice point. And when I practice, I can plant those seeds of happiness, and I can grow from it. I can work with my insight, not just to fall into the trap of the astronaut who comes back home to Earth and doesn't recognize how precious this moment is. So those difficulties don't actually have to be feared, because there's no one who has to go through them. There's no one who has to fear them. So that it's okay to feel that suffering. We don't need to be afraid of it. We can offer to that suffering and to that pain body non-fear. And we can do that by seeing through this illusion of a real true person and a real true story. Just like those astronauts who are stuck on the moon, there's only one wish, and that's to come home. And we can bring ourselves home with our practice of mindful breathing, with our practice of facing that fear, not trying to run away from it. So from fear, non-fear arises. The gift of non-fear is available to us. Okay, we'll finish this section. Just a couple more paragraphs, and then we'll open it up for a little bit of sharing and see where we go. So, the teaching of the Buddha relieves us of suffering. The basis of suffering is ignorance about the true nature of self and of the world around you. When you don't understand, you are afraid, and your fear brings you much suffering. That is why the offering of non-fear is the best kind of gift you can give to yourself and to anyone else. And maybe we can try to practice giving this gift to ourselves instead of just consuming that media, instead of just distracting ourselves when we feel uncomfortable, right? When that difficulty comes up, to offer that. And then maybe we do consume that media, or we do distract ourselves, but we get into that habit of offering ourselves non-fear. We don't just go straight to that coping mechanism. This important practice, the practice of non-fear, involves looking deeply to relieve the deep fear that is always there. If you have non-fear, your life will be happier and more beautiful, and you will be able to help many other people, just as Shariputra helped Anathapindika. The energy of non-fear is the key and the best basis for social action, for actions of compassion that protect people, protect the earth, and satisfy your needs to love and to serve. It is entirely possible to live happily and die peacefully. We do this by seeing that we continue our manifestation in other forms. It is also possible for us to help others die peacefully. If we have the elements of solidity and non-fear in us, so many of us are afraid of non-being, and because of this fear we suffer a lot. That is why the reality that we are a manifestation and a continuation of many manifestations should be revealed to the dying person. We are then not affected by the fear of birth and death, because we understand that birth and death are just notions. This insight can liberate us from fear. If we know how to practice and penetrate the reality of no birth and no death, if we realize that coming and going are just ideas, and if our presence is solid and peaceful, we help the dying person to not be scared and not suffer much. We can help the person die peacefully. We can help ourselves live without fear and die peacefully when we understand there is no dying, only continuation. There, in the last moments of his life, Anathapindika received the greatest gift of all, non-fear, and he died beautifully, peacefully, without pain or fear. Okay, would anyone like to share experience or ask a question about what we went over today? Share any insight that you got?
It made me hello. It made me think of the experience I had when I gave birth to my daughter 20 some odd years ago. It was literally like an epiphany that when she came out, I was like, this is this is death and birth. This is it right here, right now. This is the same as death. This is the same. It was like joined. It was just this epiphany I'd never had before. And it's something that I've held on to, which has made me not fear. That's what it makes me think of, the passages that you just read.
I just had a really quick quote that related to what you just said. Um, Basically, it said, after I die, a baby will be born. And then it said something along the lines of, I'm forgetting it, or I will be reborn again into a baby. And I think that kind of speaks a lot to what you were saying. Very beautiful.
This is Cassiana bowing in. Can you hear me?
Okay. I love the story of the astronaut. Sometimes I think of it throughout the day. Like, let's say I'm having a good day, and then I check social media, and someone's in Bali, and I'm like, oh, well, I wish I was in Bali. Or like, some dissatisfaction appears, and then I tell myself, well, what if I was on the moon right now? Would I want to come back to be in Bali, or would I just want to come back to Earth? I really love that story. And then something else I wanted to share was about interbeing. Wow. Like last year or 2 years ago, I was reading books by Thich Nhat Hanh. I was reading some other books on mindfulness, and I really started to understand this notion of interbeing, and it never occurred to me before. And it makes me see life in a different way. It makes me see other people in a different way. I'm not like, even I used to feel lonely. I don't really feel lonely anymore because I know I'm not a separate self. And I don't feel the need to be in competition with anyone because I don't need to be like above anyone or under anyone. I'm not very skillful at explaining right now exactly what I mean, but I just wanted to share that this notion of interbeing has made a really big impact on me. And thank you, Bhante, for the reading. Bowing out.
Yeah, Cassiana, I also I I felt similar recently about what you said of, you see on Instagram people on a trip or something, and I guess maybe it's funny that as a monk I'm also having this, but my teacher is traveling in Vietnam and Cambodia and Laos, and I see that, and it's, he has to use English because that's the most easily translatable when he's traveling. So just think, oh my goodness, if I could be there, what a joy that would be, how much development I would be getting. And yeah, just like you said, kind of, well, if I was an astronaut on the moon, um, and what came up when you shared was, would this be enough if I was in that situation? And this is enough, and it's that inability to fully practice that, to keep coming back to that this is enough, and I don't need to also go looking or searching for um, this special experience. It's really a radical way to approach, not like the storyboard of my life, because if I go some other place, that's also okay, but like the practice of my life here and now. And to, is this enough? Can I see that this is enough for me to feel happy, at peace, free? And also that this is enough to deal with the fear and deal with the suffering that is there inside of myself, and that inner child inside of myself, that this is enough. And then to step into that and take care of that. So thank you, Cassiana. Two people on YouTube shared, so I'll read their comment. Ed Wall said, I am a biologist. I feel so true this insights into reality. Ego is only a neurological abstraction of organized action potentials. We are too attached to our senses. Then what frees us is the present here. Okay, thank you, Ed Wall. And Taylor says, I have struggled with fearing death. I think the aspect of continuation and interbeing has helped a lot as well. Thank you, Taylor. Anyone else like to share? Elisha Northway says, I have to fix so much. To fix so much. Maybe another way you could see that or say that is that there is so much healing that is accessible in the here and now, and that you don't need to look outside of this present moment or outside of this your life as it is now to heal and to take care, and that you can really fully offer yourself non-fear now. There's that teaching of nowhere to go, nothing to do, um, nothing to be fixed, no one to fix it. Is very true. It's very lovely. It's very poetic, but it's also a practice, right? And so to appreciate the poetic nature of it is easy, but the practice of it is it's right on the razor's edge of our life, right? It's is right there to really embody that and to experience that. So just don't forget that in your journey of having so much to fix.
Some words that stick out in my mind right now are this is enough, I am home, I am safe.
Can't find the lyrics for this song. Oh, Lee, you want to share something? Go ahead, Lee. You should be able to speak now.
Yes. Hello. 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 Namo Sakyamuni Muni Buddha. I don't know. Anybody remember me? Hello. Did you hear me? Hello. Good. Oh. Um. Oh, Bante. I have. I know this. The Bante and share for the Dhamma talk Thich Nhat Hanh. For a long time. But I love Thich Nhat Hanh. Before 2 days ago, Thich Nhat Hanh student and me for the retreat spring in Miami. I feel very happy. I love the Thich Nhat Hanh book. I always have the book, the Thich Nhat Hanh here. Always, every day I read the Thich Nhat Hanh book. And I practice. I love for the mindfulness. And I have a question. I don't know this class for the everyday or what day, what time, but then can you show me? I want to the follow and class for the. Can you share for me something?
We're having this group practice for
Yes,
every day at 8
every
a.m. Well, Monday through Friday at 8 a.m.
Monday to Friday.
at 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. California time.
California. Oh, but it Miami time and to 8 oh, okay.
So 8 p.m. every day. It should be on the East Coast. 8 p.m. every day. Monday through Friday.
8 p. Oh, 8 p.m. Oh, okay. 8 p.m. in the East time, right?
Okay, so we will see you tomorrow as well, right?
Okay, yeah, good.
Okay. Thank you,
Thank
Lee.
you.
Yeah.
Thank-
All fuck. So we will finish up with this song, but we're just going to do the first part. We don't have much practice with this song, but it just goes like this. This is it. This is a happy moment. This is it. This is a wonderful moment. This is it. I have arrived in this moment, and the only moment is now. Okay, we try to sing together. Ready? This is it. This is a happy moment. This is it. I have arrived in this moment. This is it. Oh, and the only moment is now. We try again. This is it. This is a happy moment. This is it. This is a wonderful moment. This is it. I have arrived in this moment, and the only moment is now. Okay. And we can all bring our hands together, and we'll say a few words of metta, and then we'll finish with 3 sadhus. You can repeat after me. May we all be happy and peaceful. May we all be willing and able to face our fear. May we all be willing and able to offer non-fear to ourselves and others. May we do our best to continue on this path. May we be happy. May we truly be free. May it be. May it be. May it truly. Sadhu. 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 Okay, dear friends, thank you all for being here. Take care of yourselves tonight, and see you all tomorrow morning for meditation. Some of you can join. Okay? Bye bye.